Hello, my name is Matthew Sweeney. Welcome to this Vinyasa workshop. This DVD follows a range of techniques beginning with Surya Namaskar all the way through to Viparita Chakrasana. This DVD is useful for students of any Vinyasa tradition or students who are new to Vinyasa and wanting to understand what it's about. These techniques have been developed over the last 20 years, showing a range of levels and layers to implementing greater ease with jump throughs and jump backs, moving in and out of the salute to the sun more effectively, coming in and out of handstand more effectively, and working through the range of drop backs and handstand drop overs. I hope you enjoy this DVD and the sequences and practices as much as I do. Please make use of it, and please take care to follow the path of your own breath. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinda Sandarshita Svatma Sukhavabode Nishreyase Jangali Kayamane Samsara Hala Hala Moha Shantiyae Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakra Siddhaharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim.
The general idea of this DVD is not to provide a mountain of technical information, rather to see the progressions from one step to the next step through beginning, intermediate and advanced level practices. Once you can begin to gauge your own level of ability effectively and appropriately, you can start to practice all of these different chapters at the right point. If you're at the beginning of the chapter, stay at that level for a period of time until you can see definite improvement. Do not be in a hurry to get to the end of a chapter and practice only the advanced movements if you haven't developed the appropriate time, energy and effort at the preceding stages. Begin by focusing on your breath. If you can balance your inhalation and exhalation while you jump, you will automatically balance most other aspects of your practice. Initially, however, you may end up holding your breath with both jumping forward and lifting back due to the extra strain of these movements. Sooner rather than later, you want to learn to jump without holding your breath. So try some of these first variations and simply notice if you are locking or restricting your breath in any way. Can you move with a free breath rather than a stressful one? Learn to breathe fluidly first. From time to time, hold your breath consciously in order to practice better jumps and better lifts. That is, don't hold your breath from unconscious tension, rather hold your breath only when you need to. Try to do so sparingly rather than repetitively. It is important that you learn to firm your abdomen and breathe fluidly at the same time, rather than just one or the other. Stand at the front of your mat, with your feet together and arms lengthening by your sides. Inhale, bring your hands up. Exhale and fold forward, bending your knees as you go down. Inhale, lengthen forward, looking out in front. Exhale, step back and lower down until you lie down on the floor. Inhale, lift the chest but keep the abdomen on the floor. And then exhale, tuck your toes and lift back into downward dog. Extend through your heels up to your hips and from your hands up to the lower spine. Inhale, step both feet up to your hands, looking forward once again. Exhale, bring your head down and bend your knees. Inhale, coming up slowly, straightening your legs. Exhale and release, head back to a neutral position. Inhale, bring your hands up, looking up to your thumbs. Exhale and fold forward, bending your knees once again. Inhale, extend forward, looking out in front. Exhale and step back and lower down to the floor. Inhale, arching up smoothly, lifting the chest and the abdomen. Exhale, tuck your toes and extending back into downward dog. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths, holding steady in the posture. Inhale, step both feet up, looking forward. Exhale, head down and bend your knees. Inhale, coming up, straightening the legs and looking up. Exhale and release. Inhale, hands up, look towards your thumbs. Exhale and fold forward, head down, back of the neck soft. Inhale, look forward, extending the lower spine. Exhale, step back, lower down to the floor. Inhale, extending up into upward dog, now with your legs also off the floor. Exhale, roll over the toes and stepping into downward dog. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. Keep your face relaxed. Inhale, step both feet up to your hands, look forward. Exhale, bring your head down and bend your knees. Inhale, hands up and look towards your thumbs. Exhale and release. Inhale, looking up towards your thumbs. Exhale and fold forward, keeping your legs straight this time. Inhale, look forward, extending out of the lower spine. Exhale and step back, lowering down into the chaturanga position. Keeping your toes tucked. Inhale, lift into upward dog. Exhale, extend back into downward dog. Inhale, step both feet up together, looking forward. Exhale, head down, keep your legs straight as you can. Inhale, coming up slowly. Exhale and release, hands down by your sides. Inhale, bring your hands up, looking up. Exhale and fold forward, head goes down. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step back, lowering down into chaturanga position. Inhale, lifting into upward dog, rolling the head back slowly. Exhale, back into downward dog. Hold for 1 or 2 deep breaths and be conscious of your abdominal movement. Inhale, step both feet up, extend out of the lower spine. Exhale and fold forward, legs straight as you can. Inhale, coming up, looking up to your thumbs. Exhale and release. Firstly, we want to keep the shoulders off the ears in downward dog and generally lengthening down the back. Secondly, as the shoulders can often feel a little tight in downward dog, it is usually best to outwardly rotate the shoulders to create more space for the upper back and chest to lengthen. Having said that, there is a balance between inward and outward rotation. If you outwardly rotate too far, you will collapse the shoulders and chest, going into greater mobility but less stability. If you inwardly rotate the shoulders too far, you'll go into greater stability but less mobility. Both need to be balanced against each other, also dependent on which of those tendencies you already have. Come to a kneeling position with your hands flat on the floor. When the middle finger is straight forward, there is a slight inward rotation of the wrists. This position tends to be more stable, but can cause contraction of both the wrist and shoulder. When the forefinger is straight forward, there is a slight outward rotation of the wrists. This position promotes greater mobility, but can cause collapse through the shoulders and chest. Try to combine these two actions: inward rotation or pronation from the elbow down to the wrist and palm of the hand, and outward rotation from above the elbow to the upper arm and shoulder. Thus there is outward rotation of the upper arm and inward rotation of the lower arm. This allows balance between both polarities. In terms of the legs in downward dog, generally we want to avoid outwardly rotating the feet and hips. Although this may allow your heels to come closer to the floor, it also causes collapse and less stability, and is a common mistake many students make. If you inwardly rotate the hips to the front, this will create more space across the buttocks and lower back, but can also cause more tension and pressure if you are not so flexible. Remember to balance between these two rotations as best you can. As a general rule, inward rotation applies more stability, but restricts your mobility or flexibility. If you overemphasize this aspect, you can block yourself from further progress, particularly if you are more strong than flexible. On the other hand, outward rotation promotes more flexibility, but also creates less stability or strength. If you habitually do the latter, then you may destabilize the spine, hips, or shoulders. When you come into the downward dog position, it can be common to have a lack of awareness of what is actually happening in the lower spine. As demonstrated, we can see the lower back is extending forward and the chin is tucked. What we are attempting to do rather is to keep the head in a neutral position and to extend the lower spine so it is in one line from wrist, shoulder to lower back. You'll most likely know you're in the right position here when you can feel the stretch most acutely in the upper hamstring area. In the third example, we can see the figure with the head extending towards the floor, in this case going into greater flexibility and collapsing the chest. Once again, just extend the lower spine to a neutral position. Come to a downward dog position. Bend your knees slowly and exhale as you go in this direction, looking towards your toes. Inhale as you extend forward, looking a little more towards your thumbs and hands. Once again, exhale, bend and look towards your toes. Inhale and extend forward, looking more towards your hands. One of the most important pieces of advice to begin with jumping is to not lift your wrists off the floor. Another way of looking at this is to simply press your hands to the floor throughout the jumps. With the first variation of the jumps shown here, we bend the legs more to begin with. As we progress through each of the jumps from beginning, middle to end, the legs are straightening bit by bit. Try to keep in mind that initially, the more you bend the legs, the more you can focus on controlling and firming the abdomen, and the more you can take the pressure off the shoulders. In this way, you develop strength appropriately in the core of your body rather than just to the extremities. Try to use your legs as much as possible rather than only using your arms. Lastly, try to keep breathing fluidly as you do each of these jumps. Inhale as you come up, and exhale slowly, bring your head down. As you jump, it is important not to move with your head first. Rather, you're trying to move with the middle of your body first. If you lift the head suddenly in either direction, jumping forward or jumping back, you will tend to disengage from the abdomen. So remember to keep the head fairly still as you jump, and the rest of the movements will tend to be a little more smooth and a little more controlled. When jumping back, once again, it is better not to try to overextend and in this case bring the hands too far behind the line of the feet. Rather, keep your fingers more in front of your toes, so once again there is less pressure on the shoulders and greater emphasis on the legs and abdomen. If you're not so flexible, you can bring the hands even further in front of the feet, and once again, even less pressure on the shoulders. Be sure not to drop the lower back, not to lift your head too far and too fast, and not to move too quickly. Try to remember when you're practicing the jumps, it is better to come into the plank position where the hips are up rather than lowering abruptly. In the first example, the hips are in fact higher than the shoulders. As you progress through the jumps, once again, the legs go from being more bent to a little straighter bit by bit. In addition, we are looking for a little more lift and a little more pause in mid-air. To do this, we're trying to keep the thighs engaged a little bit towards the abdomen. Bit by bit, as you gain greater strength and stability with the jumps, you should also marry that to greater fluidity with your breath. In this case, exhaling as you jump or float back. Only when you can hold the lift effectively, keeping the hips up, should you lower directly into chaturanga. Exhale, bend the legs. Inhale, jump. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. Exhale and bend. Repeat this exercise and try to slow it down a little further in order to increase both the strength of your movements and the fluidity of your breath. Inhale, bring your hands up, looking up. Exhale and fold forward. Keep your legs as straight as possible. Inhale and look forward, extending out of the lower spine. Exhale, press back and lower slowly to chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest into upward dog. Exhale and extend back into downward dog. Hold for a few deep breaths, extending from the hands to the lower back and the heels to the hips. Be conscious of the abdominal movement, making sure to balance the inhalation and the exhalation. Bend your knees. Inhale as you jump up, extending and looking forward at the end. Exhale and bring your head down. Inhale, slowly coming up, looking towards your thumbs. Exhale and release, dropping the shoulder blades down. Inhale, bring the hands up and looking up. Exhale and fold forward, back of the neck soft. Inhale, looking forward, extending. Exhale, legs stay straight, lifting and lowering to chaturanga. Inhale, head slowly back, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Take 5 deep breaths, being conscious of your abdominal movements, and rather than trying to either harden the abdomen and holding it tightly throughout the process, or having no awareness of the lower abdomen, try to balance between these two. That is, flexibility and strength married to both inhalation and exhalation evenly. As a general rule in the Ashtanga practice, inhalation is associated most with strength and the exhalation most with flexibility. Inhale, jumping up, keeping the legs straight as you can. Exhale and fold forward, head goes down. Inhale, bring your hands up slowly, looking towards your thumbs. Exhale and release, head back to a neutral position. If you work on refining the vinyasa for the salute to the sun, you'll be a long way towards accomplishing better jump-throughs and jump-backs. Your ability to bear weight on your hands, through your arms, can then lead to better headstand and handstand. In addition, it is often necessary to do additional homework as prescribed in the second DVD in this set. For example, focus on developing core strength and the Uddiyana Bandha. The basic jump through I would consider a prerequisite for handstand, and the jump back for the advanced versions of handstand, free balancing and deadlifts. That is, jumping through is an intermediate level practice and jumping back is an advanced level practice. A certain amount of flexibility is also needed for the jumps. The following areas are usually necessary in order to accomplish a complete float through and float back. Another important aspect of the jumps and the body types has to do with the length of your arms versus the length of your legs. As a general rule, the longer your arms are compared to the length of your spine, the easier the jumps get. The shorter your arms are compared to the length of your spine, the harder the jumps get. An unfortunate truth is that the skinnier you are, the easier most postures get. Having said that, being skinnier or underweight does not necessarily mean being healthier. The more weight you are carrying on the legs and hips, the harder the jumps get. This does not mean you should stop eating in order to accomplish this. Respect your body type rather than having to fit to a particular mold in order to accomplish the jumps. And don't make the practice more important than your actual well-being. Love your body and it will love you back. As you progress through the stages for jumping through, it is important to remember to try to keep your hips high off the floor and your knees off the floor also. As you begin to build your strength little by little, you should find that the feet can get softer and softer on the floor also. Initially, however, it is important not to try and bring the feet through the hands straight away. Rather, take your time to keep the feet back in order to control both abdominal, leg and shoulder action. As you develop better control, you can find the feet can stay off the floor for longer until such a time you can pull them through or drag them through as necessary. Try to lead with your knees and try not to bring your feet through in order to keep the hips a little higher. Bend your legs, inhale as you jump, cross the legs, pause and sit down. Exhale and release. Bend your legs, inhale as you jump, cross, hold off the floor, pull the feet through, exhale and straighten the legs. When it comes to jumping through and jumping back, your proportions play a big part. As shown in this clip, the longer your arms are compared to the length of your spine makes it easier to jump through. The further forward you bring the hands, the more you can bring the hips off the floor. In addition, the more flexibility you have through doing forward bending, the easier it is also to bring the head closer to the knees and thus the hips higher off the floor. In addition, the longer your legs are compared to the length of your spine, the harder jumping through and jumping back becomes. The best way to compensate for this particular difficulty is to increase your flexibility. The more flexible you are through the forward bends and through general hip opening, the easier it will get to keep your feet and hips tucked in tightly throughout the whole process. An unfortunate truth is that there is an ideal Ashtanga yoga body for jumping through and jumping back. That is, short legs, long arms and a medium length spine. If you happen to have the opposite, that is, short arms and long legs, this will make jumping through and jumping back difficult. Thus you would need more strength and more flexibility with these particular proportions. Students who already have long arms and shorter legs need less strength and less flexibility to get the same result. Initially, in order to practice the straight leg jump through, it can be useful to use blocks. The first actions here are simply about swinging the legs through, and so rather than the cross-leg jump through where we're trying to slow down, in this case you can speed up and flick your feet through a little more quickly each time. Another important aspect of jumping through with straight legs is having a good forward bend. If you are not that flexible through the hips or through the hamstring, then it's simply useful to keep practicing the primary series until your forward bends improve. This will make jumping through straight-legged a lot easier. Ideally, you should use the cross-legged jump through for the first half of the primary series. Generally then, for the second half of the primary series, from Navasana and beyond when you're doing postures like Baddha Konasana and Upavishta Konasana, you can begin to learn to jump through straight-legged. To begin, when trying to jump back, it is useful to have the hands in front of the feet. This way you can use the feet to support in order to lift the hips. Come into a half Navasana position and exhale. As you lower the feet towards the floor, press the hands and inhale, lift the hips up. Repeat this once or twice. Exhale. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale and jump. Exhale, half Navasana. Press the hands. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale and jump. When you're jumping back with the hands in front of the feet, try to remember not to jump straight away into Chaturanga. Your breath will escape too quickly and your control will be limited. In addition, when you jump back this way, try not to let the lower back descend too early and therefore collapse the lower spine. When you begin the jump backs with the hands behind the feet, it can be useful to practice with the blocks. The first few stages are simply to try to get the hips off the floor and to keep your feet off the floor for longer and longer. This requires both strength in the abdomen and strength in the upper body and shoulders. Once you get used to the first basic lift, then you're trying to add a little bit of movement. Firstly, press the hands firmly into the blocks in order to get your head further forward. The more you can bring your head forward, the more you can then pivot the hips up higher and higher in order to then clear the feet. So the progression goes hands, head, hips, feet. Next, start with the hands on the blocks, but this time your feet behind the line of the hands. Try to draw the thighs in towards your chest in order to lift the feet off the floor. Inhale as you do this action. Try not to simply pop or jump the feet straight up. Rather, use your body weight to lean forward, firm the abdomen, and simply squeeze inward. You can repeat these exercises as many times as you like in order to improve your technique. Also remember to change sides, do both sides equally, don't just favour the good side. One issue that can arise from Ashtanga practitioners only doing the good side with the jump throughs and jump back is an increased tension on that side of the abdomen, particularly down to the psoas muscle. If you do practice both sides, this can then release. When working on the full lift, try to inhale as smoothly as possible and keep the movements as fluid. Once again, hands, head, hips and feet. Change sides, hands, head, hips and feet. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you sit back down. Repeat most of the previous exercises without the blocks. See if you can get the hips off the floor, and then see if you can keep the feet off the floor. In addition, try to keep your hands in front of your buttocks at all times when trying these lifts. and use the hand position to allow your head to tilt forward. Inhale, slowly lift, pause, exhale and jump back. Once again, try the lift, this time without the blocks. Lean forward, hold and squeeze the thighs towards your chest each time. Press your hands to the floor, inhale and lift, hold that a moment and try to swing backwards and forwards. Press your hands to the floor, inhale and lift. As you bring your head a little forward, touch and jump the feet back. Inhale, press forward, touch and slide. Inhale and press forward. Exhale, drop. Inhale and press forward. Swing a moment. Exhale and drop. Inhale, lifting, lean forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, press forward, lifting up slowly. Exhale, plank and lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, press forward, keep lifting as you inhale. Exhale, lower into chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. You should also use the parallel jump, that is, not crossing the legs, if either the psoas muscle at the base of the hip or your shoulders are out of balance. When using the parallel jump, we tend to work both sides of the body evenly, rather than with the cross leg, one side of the body gets overemphasized. Inhale, jump through, legs bent and together. exhale. Inhale, legs together, bend and lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Bend your legs. Inhale as you jump, cross, sit down. Exhale as you straighten, bending the outside leg. Inhale, look up. Exhale and fold forward. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale and look up. Exhale and release. Bring the legs together. Cross. Inhale, swing and lift, hold, and sit down. Exhale, bend the right leg out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, forward. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale, look up. Exhale and release, straightening the legs. Inhale, lift, cross. Exhale, sit, pull the feet in. Inhale, lift again. Exhale, jump, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, lift the hips, downward dog. Bend your legs. Inhale, jump through. Exhale, bring the right leg into a fold. Bind the hands. Inhale and look up. Exhale and fold forward. Take a few deep breaths and keep your face relaxed. Inhale and look up. Exhale and release. Straighten the legs. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale, float back. Inhale, lift the chest, upward dog. Exhale, lift the hips, downward dog. Inhale, jump through. And look up. Exhale and fold forward. Take a few deep breaths and keep your face relaxed. Inhale and look up. Exhale. Inhale, press and lift. Exhale, float back. Inhale, lift the chest, upward dog. Exhale, lift the hips, downward dog. Bend the legs. Inhale, jump, flying lotus. Exhale, and sit down. Press the hands. Inhale, lift, high as you can. Exhale, release, chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. Headstand, for the most part, is an easier practice than both jumping through and jumping back. However, it is a posture that you need to establish fully before you can develop better balance and control in handstand. The forearm balance is a halfway step between headstand and handstand. Initially, you may need to build some confidence to practice these postures away from a wall. The methods shown in this DVD should easily help you with this. Handstand should be considered an advanced practice, unless you have spent some time, and usually years, developing the strength and flexibility throughout your body. Accomplishing this posture is often both impossible and inappropriate, even if it is still fun. For all inversions, the areas you need to develop are as follows. 1. Upper body strength and upper body flexibility. 2. Core strength and core flexibility. And 3. Lower body strength and lower body flexibility. It should be obvious, therefore, that if you can increase and balance strength and flexibility in all areas, more and more postures will be accessible for you. There are various points to beginning the appropriate application of headstand, namely, what weight you put on the arms versus the weight you put on your head, and where you put the weight on the head. That is, either forward towards the forehead or towards the back and the crown of the head. As a general rule, for most beginners, the weight on the head should be a little bit forward, about halfway between the tip of the forehead and the crown of the head. For more advanced students, you should begin to practice at the high point of the head, just in front of the crown. Ideally, as far as the weight on the arms versus the weight on the head is concerned, my best advice is to try to keep weight evenly balanced across all of it. Particularly once you're holding the position and free balancing off the wall, it is a matter of trying to coordinate both breath, awareness, and postural alignment in order to integrate this balance. Having said that, initially for most beginners, particularly when moving in and out of headstand, coming up and going down, it is important to keep more of your weight centered down to the elbows in order to facilitate better control, particularly going up, and longer graceful movements. Wrap your hands around your forearms, interlock your fingers, and then place the bottom edge of your wrist on the floor. Place your head on the floor, straighten your legs and walk your toes a little bit towards your face. On the exhalation, bend your knees. Inhalation, lift your hips. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. Notice the movements of the shoulders. As a general rule, you want to bring the shoulders both towards your thighs and up your back. It is usually best to begin the practice of headstand on or near a wall. Put your head into position and straighten your legs. Lift the left leg up, bend the right leg, and inhale, swing, lift. When you come down, try not to fall, slow down as best you can, exhale and lower. You can repeat this exercise a few times. Try to remember to change sides. Come up with one leg and go down on the other side. Lift the left leg again, this time rather than swinging up the wall, inhale and try and lift a little more slowly. On the way down, exhale and pause, and then touch down. Inhale, slowly lift, pause and come up. Exhale, come down, pause, and then lower all the way. One of the most important factors for developing all of your inversions is not simply being able to get up into the position slowly and effectively, but being able to come out of it both safely and slowly. This first exercise demonstrates how to use better abdominal control coming down. So rather than coming down with one leg at a time, slide both legs, bend your knees, and then bring the thighs little by little towards your chest. Firm the abdomen, particularly on the last movement. If you can come down slowly, you'll be able to come up more slowly. These movements become a little bit like doing sit-ups, only you're upside down and therefore a little more fun. Come into the preparatory position once more. Lift up anyhow you can and bring your feet onto the wall. On the exhalation, slide the heels down the wall a little. Inhalation and lift. Exhalation and slide the heels down. Inhalation and lift. As you go up and down, you have to increase the arch in the lower spine. Remember to keep your abdomen firm in order not to collapse the lower back fully. From there, use the arch to lift the feet away from the wall. Come down slowly and with control. Once again, come into the first position. Straighten and lift. Exhale and come onto the wall. Inhale, slowly lift the feet away, lengthening out of the front body and lengthening into the full headstand position. Hold. Breathe and keep lifting through the front body, lengthening from the crown of the head to the lower spine. Exhale, bring your legs down slowly, touch the floor, release the legs and release your neck. Lie in child's pose for a few breaths. Come a little further from the wall, have a little bit of confidence, and once again, inhale as you lift up. Use the distance from the wall to encourage a greater range of movement. You're testing your balance this way and also developing better control through the abdomen and lower back. Inhale as you lift up. Exhale as your toes touch towards the wall. Inhale. Exhale and come down. Inhale up. Exhale over. Inhale, lift off. Exhale and come down. Once you've established better balance and control using the wall, it's important to, sooner rather than later, develop the balance and control off the wall. The first example, we practice swinging the legs up. This momentum initially can create a little bit of unsteadiness. The more momentum you use, the less stable you'll be. As you get used to that, start to straighten the legs up, and rather than swinging the legs up, lift them slowly and your balance will improve. If you come up with one leg, try to remember to come down with the other side and then change sides. When practicing lifting, both bent-legged and straight-legged, it's important to understand where your hips are even though you can't see them. As you exhale, you bend the legs. As you inhale, you lift the hips. Start by straightening the legs and lengthening the lower spine, and then when you are ready, bend the knees, inhale and jump. When you do jump up, try and pause at the top and hold for a moment or two. Exhale, bend, inhale, jump, and then come up and down a moment, breathing fluidly. Don't touch the floor straight away. Notice the difference in the range of movements you feel. When the knees are together, you get greater abdominal control, but the hips are less fluid when they move. As you open the knees, the hips move more fluidly, but you may feel like you're about to flip over and lose your balance. So there are advantages and disadvantages to both. Knees together, greater control, less movement. Knees apart, greater movement, less control. When you move from jumping to a lifting action, you need to both engage the abdomen and the shoulders by lengthening from the lower spine to the upper back. When you're doing this, it is important not to hunch the neck, so keep your face relaxed at all times. As you develop both the strength in the abdomen and shoulders and the flexibility through the spine and the hamstring, you can move effectively from jumping to lifting bent legs to lifting with straight legs. Keep in mind that both strength and flexibility are needed for the final stages. Straighten your legs. Inhale and rise. Once you're at the top, begin to arch the lower back slightly, bringing your feet overhead, and then bring the feet back in the opposite direction. By moving backwards and forwards in this manner, you can begin to gauge where your approximate center is. As you arch, you can recognize that's not straight. As you go into a forward fold, you can recognize that that is not straight either. As both your alignment and your breath begins to improve in this posture, you can begin to find a long and straight position where, little by little, the posture becomes effortless rather than effortful. For some students, using a towel as a prop either under the elbows, under the wrists or under your head is a useful way to maintain your balance, either because of tight shoulders or because of proportions, particularly short arms or a particularly long spine. The towel in this way can be critical for maintaining balance. When the towel is under your elbows, it provides greater strength but can also tend to place more pressure on the shoulders and the back of the neck. When the towel is under the wrists, it tends to create more pressure on the elbows also, but a little less pressure on the shoulders and the back of the neck. You can experiment with these two and decide for yourself which one works best. Ideally, what is most comfortable is the one you should use more often. In the last example, a towel under the head can be useful just simply for support, particularly if there is undue neck strain. It is important to note here the thickness of the towel can make a large difference, so for some, just a millimetre or two may be sufficient. Come into the preparatory position, walk the feet in, inhale and slowly rise to headstand. Broaden the shoulders, lengthen the front of your body, and try to keep your breathing fluid at all times. As you maintain the headstand position for longer and longer, you may notice increased jaw pressure and thus an increased tendency to shorten the breath. Keep your breathing smooth and long, and keep space between your teeth. The upper and lower jaw should not be clenching. If you can keep your face relaxed and your jaw free of tension, the headstand position will become effortless. Exhale and come down. Hold halfway. Again, breathing fluidly. Inhale and rise. Pause at the top. Exhale and come down until your toes are just off the floor. Inhale and rise. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and rise. Exhale and lower down. Inhale and rise. Exhale and lower down. Inhale, rise. Exhale and come down. Release, bend your legs, and release the back of your neck. Relax in child's pose and allow your breath to find its own rhythm. When you begin to practice the forearm balance, one of the first things to remember is how you engage with your wrists. Initially, as you lift one leg and try and swing over, there is a tendency to feel like you're going to flip over automatically. If you can practice lifting your wrists a little as you swing up or jump up, then you can maintain more pressure into the hands and thus more control in the jump. When you're up in the position, the opposite is true. You want to lower the wrist towards the floor in order to lengthen out of the lower spine. Just like headstand, it's usually best to begin the practice of the forearm balance on or near the wall. When you come up in the position, inhale and swing one leg up. This swing can be likened to a kangaroo hop. It is useful to bend the lower leg and use the lower leg to swing the upper leg a little higher, thus making it easier to reach the wall. If you find it difficult to get up the wall in this posture, it may be necessary for you to spend more time developing your actions up and down in headstand. If you can balance in headstand, then you're ready for the forearm balance. If you can't balance off the wall, then you are not particularly ready for the forearm balance. Come close to the wall, fingertips just on the wall. Bend one leg and inhale and lift up. Once both heels are on the wall, exhale and slide them down. Inhale and bring them up. Exhale down, inhale up. Exhale down, inhale up. As you're exhaling, you are arching the lower spine and looking towards the wall. As you're inhaling, you're lifting up the wall and looking more towards your elbows. When you're ready, exhale and come down and release in child's pose. Once again, inhale and lift up the wall. Use the arching mechanism we were using before in order to slowly lift the feet away from the wall. In addition, as you lift the feet, you're trying to lengthen out of the lower spine rather than stay collapsed into the lower spine. Again, when you're ready, exhale and lower down and release in child's pose. Come close to the wall, inhale and rise. This time, as you exhale, bend the legs and come into a slight arch. Hold for a moment, and then when you're ready, try to tuck the thighs towards your chest, exhaling on the way down. Initially, as you try this action, you may end up with a whip effect. As the thighs tuck in, the feet can tend to pivot a little quickly towards the floor. Little by little, try to slow that down, using your breath and abdominal control to lower down gracefully. Once again, inhale and rise up the wall. Bend your legs. Tuck the hips. Exhale and hold. Try to balance for a moment and then lower down. Once you can come down slowly and with control, only then should you try and come up with the same kind of control. That is, bending the legs and jumping both legs at the same time. This is a great deal harder than lifting one leg at a time, so unless you can come down with both legs slowly, you should not worry about trying to come up with both legs slowly. Keep practicing coming up with one leg and coming down with both legs. Once you can come down with greater control, then essentially you're ready to start working on free balancing. The first action here is to swing up and catch your balance. As suggested earlier, the best way to catch your balance is to lift the wrists a little. If you tend to favour just bringing one leg up at a time, remember to alternate sides. The hard side may take a little while to develop, but persevere. Use the wrists once again. When you're swinging, lift the wrists. Once you're balancing, lower the wrist down again. Once you get used to swinging the legs up, little by little you can start to practice trying to lift the legs with greater control. Come down slowly and release in child's pose each time. If you can free balance using one leg at a time, then start to practice jumping with both legs. The initial jump may be a little shallow, you may not get high enough. Bit by bit, try and jump until you can get the thighs over the hips. Use your breath to jump and see if you can come up and down with some control. Inhale as you jump, straighten the legs only at the very end, balance for a breath or two, and then bend the knees, exhale and come down. One of the most challenging parts about the forearm balance is being able to jump out of it quite effectively. The first stage, as suggested earlier, was to be able to come down with both legs at the same time. The next action is to practice a little jump and lift, going from a bent-legged position, that is how you would land in the forearm balance, to straightening into the plank position. Exhale, hop the legs, straighten the arms and then lower down. Try to do this whole movement on one single exhalation. From the complete forearm balance, coming up with one or both legs, coming down with both legs, exhale, straighten and lower down. The important action to remember here is you're bringing the thighs towards your chest rather than bringing your legs away from your chest. The concept of this first jump is to bring your elbows above your wrists. As you lower down, straightening the arms and legs simultaneously is important. The advanced version of this jump, as demonstrated in typical Ashtanga yoga practice, is to try to bring the wrists back in the direction of the elbows. In order to create the momentum for this, it is useful to flick the feet a little faster than normal. Inhale, jump to a kneeling position, forearms to the floor. Exhale and lift the hips. Inhale and jump up, lift in the forearm balance, and lengthen out of the lower spine. Exhale, jump back. Inhale, lift in upward dog. Exhale, extending back into downward dog. Inhale, walk your feet up the wall, hands shoulder width, and slowly straighten the legs. Keep your chin tucked and lengthening the spine just as you would in downward dog. This position can create some pressure on the hands, wrists and shoulders, so do so initially for a limited period of time until you can build up the strength. Start with your hands a few inches from the wall. Straighten your legs and come into a slightly short downward dog position. Lift one leg, bend the base leg, inhale and swing up. Exhale, bring the leg down and release at the end. Inhale, swinging up. Exhale and come down. Initially, it may be difficult to get up the wall at all, so once again, if you have not sufficiently practiced the headstand position, you may need to return to this, and also possibly the strength in jumping through and jumping back in order to develop the handstand effectively. Once you can swing up the wall, start to practice one leg and lift a little more slowly and pausing and balancing just before you touch the wall. Come down just as slowly as you come up. Once again, don't forget to change sides, practice both sides equally. Inhale, swinging up the wall. Bend both legs and pause a moment with your toes on the wall. Exhale and bring the thighs just off the wall and come all the way down. Initially, this bent-legged action may create a whip. You may end up coming down quite quickly. When you're ready, repeat. Slide the feet down. Tuck the thighs a little bit towards your chest. Exhale and pull the thighs in as you come down. Keep trying to slow this movement down. Inhale, swing one leg up. Exhale, bend both legs. Pause a moment with your toes on the wall. Number 4. Number 3. Number 2. And 1 is on the floor. Inhale and coming up. Exhale, slide the feet down. Try to keep breathing fluidly. And as you're pausing at each stage, firm the abdomen without clenching your face, squeezing the eyes, or locking the jaw. When you begin practicing the jumps for handstand, it may be difficult to get both a vertical movement, the hips over the shoulders, and the horizontal movement of shoulders over the hands. One or the other, as you can see, will not create the right jump. When you try this against the wall, you can begin by rocking. Exhale as you bend, inhale as you lift the hips. Exhale, legs bend, inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, bend the knees, inhale and jump. Initially try to keep your knees together. As you practice inhaling and jumping, try not to bring your head too far forward. That is, it is best initially to gaze directly at your hands or in between your thumbs. Once you can begin to come down the wall through those 4 stages, then little by little you want to practice with a bent leg jump, coming up to the wall through the same 4 stages. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you go down. It is important to note, as you're jumping with bent legs, trying to keep your thighs fairly close to your abdomen, both on the way up and on the way down. If you bring your thighs away from your abdomen too quickly, then it is much more difficult to develop abdominal control. Inhale and come up the wall anyhow you like, and bring your heels onto the wall. Exhale as you arch, inhale as you lift. Exhale, arch, inhale, lift the heels, exhale, heels down, inhale, heels up. You can repeat this action in order to understand what you're attempting in the lower spine. That is, to lengthen rather than arch. Once you can do these movements effectively, try and use the lifting action to come off the wall. So rather than doing this one leg at a time, maintaining both feet together and using the abdomen to move rather than your feet. By establishing your awareness in the arch in both headstand, forearm balance and handstand, you can then deliberately start to practice not arching. So we use the arch in order to not. You may need a little bit of movement backwards and forwards to ascertain where the center is. Once you can feel the center more effectively, keep lifting out of the lower spine. You can drop your gaze slightly, the back of the neck, chest and lower spine all start to lengthen. Come a little further from the wall, inhale and jump up. Bend your legs at the end, exhale and touch the toes to the wall. Hold your balance a moment and then inhale, try and come off the wall, straighten the legs, exhale and lower down. The first action in free balancing is being able to swing one leg up and catch your balance without falling. This may take some years of practice, so do not be disheartened if it doesn't occur straight away. Once you can swing and balance effectively, Try bringing one leg up and lifting a little more slowly. In addition, coming down with the same speed. So don't fall out of the posture, come down with control. Once your balance is improving, and you can come up and down with one leg effectively, you want to start practicing the jumps. As you begin jumping with both legs, try to keep the knees fairly close initially and the feet together. Inhale as you jump, exhale as you go down. Inhale as you jump, try and pause, exhale down. In addition, you can practice bringing the knees wide, and much like we did in headstand, we do this in order to feel what the range of motion is like over the hips. Keeping the knees together engages the abdomen, but it stops the hips from moving so freely. Allowing the knees to part brings more movement to the hips, but also can feel a little more unsteady, as though you're about to flip over. In both cases, see if you can jump up and pause at the top of the movement, rather than falling back or over. Come to a short downward dog. Inhale as you jump, pause, straighten the legs. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths, bend your knees, exhale and slowly come down. Inhale as you jump up, straighten the legs, and in order to slow down the movement on the way down, flex the feet. This can control the action through the buttocks, hips and hamstring. Inhale as you rise. Allow a slight arch, see if you can control the movement. Exhale as you go into the arch. Inhale as you lift back. Exhale and arch. Inhale and lift back. Bend your knees, exhale and slowly come down. Initially, you may need to work at opening the shoulders and upper back in order to manage lifting and balancing in handstand. Usually this means drawing your shoulder blades down your back. However, once you can balance in handstand effectively, to get full extension, your shoulders will need to lengthen towards your ears, the opposite direction. As your technique improves, both the jumps and the balance will also improve. Going from a bent-legged action to a pike action, that is jumping up with straight legs, may require a wall initially. Exhale as you bend the knees. Inhale, pull the thighs towards your chest and then lift slowly. It is important not to bring the feet too quickly to the wall. The wall is simply insurance so you don't fall over. If you can maintain this on the wall, try it off the wall also. Each time you're trying to enter the pike, you are trying to bring the thighs closer to the chest, rather than bringing the thighs away from the chest. This can be counterintuitive, so some practice and repetition may be necessary. 2 actions you need to engage in order not to fall over. One is to claw the mat with your fingers, so grabbing hold there. The other is to firm your abdomen to stop the hips from going too far. As you can maintain greater length from the hands, through the shoulders and chest, up to the hips and then the toes, the effort in the posture decreases. The ease in the posture increases. Stand on 2 blocks. Once you can jump and balance effectively in the previous exercises, you can then start practicing lifting. In this case, 1 leg at a time. Inhale, lift, and then hold your balance. Exhale, 1 leg comes down and lower slowly, also holding your balance. lean forward over your hands and come high onto your toes. Lift the right leg. Press forward. Inhale. Try and get a little bit of lift and forward action. Exhale slowly, bring one leg down, release. Try a lifting action on the blocks. A common movement, wide legs, trying to bring the hips over the shoulders and your legs wider as you rise. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, little jump. Exhale and lower. Rather than jumping off the blocks, try to now lift your heels, bring the hips over, and inhale and rise. Exhale, widen the legs, turn the hips down, and lower down all the way. The blocks allow a little more support to bring the hips a little higher, and if you can manage that effectively, try it without the blocks. This initially may require more of a jump, so inhale and jump off the floor, coming a little higher each time until you can balance and lift all the way. Lift the heels, exhale, bend, inhale and rise. Feet come together slowly, pause, hold your balance. Exhale, widen, turn the hips over and lower down. Lift your heels. Inhale, lift the hips high as you can, pressing the legs wide as you rise up. Widen the legs. Exhale and roll down. And then release. Head down. Stand on blocks again. Bring your hands to the floor. Bend your knees, but lift your heels and hips. As you lean forward, inhale, try and pull the thighs in and lift the feet up. Exhale, coming down, touch down softly. The progression goes from one leg and lifting to wide leg and lifting to bent leg lifting as shown, eventually to straight leg lifting. In each case, inhale as you lift up, firming the abdomen. Exhale as you lower down. Try not to hold your breath. Use the inhalation to help as you lift and the exhalation to help as you lower. As shown in the last example, the shoulders may need to be a fair way over the wrist in order to pivot the hips higher and higher. As you lower down, same thing, the shoulders come over the wrists a little in order to bring the thighs towards the chest. In order to practice better control, coming up and coming down, and particularly trying to get the thighs closer towards the chest, use the blocks to create more height, more space for the shoulders, and more lift out of the lower back. Inhale as you jump, coming up through the pike position. Straighten, take a breath. Exhale, lower down, pull the thighs in. sitting on the floor. From a half Navasana position, inhale, pull up, rise, keep lifting. Exhale as you reach the top. Pause, take a breath. Exhale, bend the legs, tuck the thighs in, and pull through to sitting. Back bends can be considered the most opening and stimulating of all yoga postures. They wake up the nervous system and encourage a deeper connection to the subtle body. If you use and apply back bending appropriately, you'll find more lightness and grace throughout your practice. Two areas that often need extra work for back bending are the shoulders and the upper back. In addition, some students need more core strength for stabilizing the lower spine, and some need more front body flexibility. All of these can be added as personal homework and can be viewed in Chapter 6. The first postures shown here are incredibly useful for developing back bending, both in terms of awareness of the abdomen and strengthening the lower back. Because the abdomen is on the floor, it has an added benefit of lengthening the spine. If you can feel the movement of your chest going forward rather than just up, you're on the right track. As you practice lifting in these initial postures, you should also try not to squeeze your buttocks too tightly. The general rule is to broaden the buttocks rather than just squeezing them inwardly. See if you can use this action to create space for the lower back and length for the front body. With most back bends, it is important to firm the abdomen, lifting from the pelvic floor up through the front of the ribs, and trying to relax the buttocks. Sometimes it is difficult to do both at the same time. So keep practicing. Lift from the pelvic floor, relax the buttocks. The deeper you get into a back bend, the more difficult this will be. Another way to gauge the effectiveness of your back bending is how well you're breathing. If the abdomen is too tight, the breathing will tend to be too harsh. If your abdomen is too loose, your breathing will also tend to be loose. Some compromise between the two is necessary. A firm breath and a long breath. Do not overemphasize ujjayi breathing. In particular, try not to make the exhalation too long and harsh and the inhalation too short and sharp. Particularly for back bending, see if you can lengthen the start of your inhalation in order to get better expansion out of the front of the body, particularly into the front of the chest. Keep your face, forehead and jaw relaxed. If there is space between the upper and lower teeth, your breath will be better, and there will be correlating space in between your ribs. If the jaw is tight, your ribs will also tend to be tight. If you notice any particular sharp or shooting pain, it is a definite sign that the body is saying no, not yet, so respect it. Come out of the posture and don't go so deeply. If the pain is possibly just general or not too loud or sharp, then it may be appropriate to simply continue breathing into the pain, breathing into the posture, and little by little, the discomfort will release. Keep lengthening the front of your body. Keep lifting the chest. And do not hold your breath. Do not restrict your breath. For some students, due to the tightness in the shoulders and the upper back, it may be useful or even necessary to use blocks in order to get enough height to lift. The blocks can be used in this fashion, flat on the floor, coming onto the crown of the head, and eventually trying to lift the crown of the head off the floor. Initially, it may be difficult to straighten the arms. Just try to keep the head off the floor for 1 or 2 breaths, breathing fluidly, and come down in your own time. As you get more experienced and the body starts to open up, using the wall as a reference point, you're trying to bring the chest a little closer to the wall, lifting out of the armpits, and lengthening through the whole of the front body. Bit by bit, you can walk your feet a little closer, dropping the chin, and literally bringing your chest on or close to the wall. Another option is to have the blocks sloping against the wall. The angle of the blocks provides for less wrist pressure and also can help to bring a little more lift into the chest and a little more extension through the back of the shoulders. Initially, the arms may stay bent, and eventually, little by little, try to straighten the arms, press the feet, and lift the chest a little bit towards the wall. Remember to breathe, and try to have your inhalation just as long as the exhalation. Place a block between your legs, have your feet hip width, your hands shoulder width, and then inhale and rise in the full bridge posture. Keep the inner thigh squeezing gently around the block and keep pressing the feet so that you can feel your inner leg lengthening, a slight inward rotation from the knee to the top of the hip. Exhale, slowly come down, release your head, try to keep the block in one place. Place a strap around both elbows, trying to keep the arms shoulder width. On the inhalation, rise, coming into the full bridge posture, using the strap in this case to create a little inward rotation, broadening across the shoulders, keeping the hands firm into the floor. Allow your breathing to be smooth and free, and keep your face relaxed, particularly around the jaw. Exhale as you come down, keep your head clear of the strap, release the arms. With full bridge, try to avoid outwardly rotating your feet too far, despite that this may make it easier to get higher off the floor. Similar to downward dog, this will cause contraction around the buttocks and sacrum, promoting too much pressure on the lower back. It is also possible to inwardly rotate too far, although this is a lot less likely than the first example. Ideally, you want to create space across the lower back. Thus, we rotate from the buttocks and sacrum to create space and inwardly rotate to the front. Once again, it is also a matter of balancing between the inward and outward rotation depending on your current tendency. With the upper body in this posture, you want to slightly outwardly rotate the upper arms to create more space for the upper back and shoulders. If you take this too far, you will tend to collapse around the elbow and wrist. If you inwardly rotate too far, you'll find it more difficult to get off the floor in the first place and difficult to fully straighten your arms. Like downward dog, you also want to slightly inwardly rotate the lower arm, particularly around the forefinger, wrist and elbow, to allow greater stability and pressing into the floor. The upper arm goes outward and the lower arm inward. Some students, because of constitutional type, may already be strongly inwardly or outwardly rotated. To force a student into correct alignment in either case usually causes more problems than it solves. In the end, start by doing whichever action causes you the least discomfort. Try to balance all aspects of the posture and reduce the pain you experience at the same time. Start with your feet parallel and about shoulder width apart. Bring your hands to the level of your solar plexus or just below that so that your shoulders do not ride up. As you begin these first exercises, note any extra tension either in the back of the neck or the lower back. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale as you lift, lengthening the front body. Exhale, slowly roll the head back. Inhale, lift the chest, release your head at the end, and then exhale, bend the knees again. Inhale, rise. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, lift the chest, release the head slowly, and exhale and bend. Inhale, lengthen through the front of the abdomen. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, lift. Exhale and release. You can repeat these at your own leisure. Try to be conscious of the front body and keeping your buttocks relaxed. Place a block between your thighs. Have your feet hip width apart. On the exhalation, rock back and keep squeezing your thighs around the block. Try to keep a little bit of inward rotation from both the feet toward the big toe inward, the knees and the inner leg inward, and the front of the thighs and front of the hip flexors slightly inwardly rotated. Keep softening the buttocks, releasing and lengthening out of the lower back. Inhale as you come up, release your head, exhale. Hold the hands around your hips, also to check how tense your buttocks are becoming and see if you can keep them relaxed. On the exhalation, go back. Inhale, lift a little. Exhale and go back. Keep your head back at all times and up and down, lifting the chest and releasing out of the lower back as you go backwards and forwards. As you can see, little by little, try to come higher each time, thus decreasing the lower back pressure rather than increasing it. It's not a matter of going deeper into the back bend always, it's trying to access the upper back, thoracic region. The hand position here demonstrates this. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, lean back. With the bottom hand staying in awareness of the lower abdomen. If you do experience increased neck pressure or increased neck pain from back bending, this simple exercise can help to alleviate it. Bring the shoulders a little forward, Then roll the head back and release the shoulders back as you go back. As you come up, shoulders forward at the end, then release your head and release your arms. By adjusting the shoulders forward slightly as you go back and as you come up, you can lift the trapezius, which provides greater support for the cervical spine. If you roll the shoulder blades back too tightly and too quickly before you bring the head back, this can be unsupportive for the neck and cause increased neck pressure. In addition, where you look plays a part in your ability to lengthen the spine and engage the abdomen, and how much neck pressure and neck pain you may be feeling. If you keep your gaze located towards the nose, you will tend to engage the lower abdomen more. At the same time, this decreases the ability to lift and lengthen the chest. If you bring the gaze more towards the third eye, this tends to disengage from the lower abdomen, but it increases the lift and length in the chest. As a general rule, in order to be safer with back bending, look a little more towards the nose. If you're trying to expand your back bending a little further, look a little more towards the third eye. The next stage for learning drop backs is to begin to use the wall. To gauge your distance from the wall, you can start quite close, exhale and reach back. Then simply step further away, inhale and reach up. Exhale as you extend towards the wall, bending your arms. Inhale, reach up. Exhale and lower the arms. Step a little further away. Inhale and reach up. Exhale, extend back, arms straight, bending at the end. Inhale, push off the wall, release the arms down. Exhale and release your head also. The final stage, you reach your optimal distance. Inhale, extend up, lengthening. Exhale, arms straight for as long as you can. Pause off the wall. Bending the elbows, rock backwards and forwards. Exhale as you bend, inhale as you straighten. Inhale, rolling up, release your head, exhale at the end. Inhale, extending up, lengthening through the front body. Exhale, extend towards the wall, pause, touch, and bend. Try to keep your elbows rolling inward rather than having them fall out. Inhale, push off the wall, roll the arms down. Exhale, release the head. Inhale, extend up. Firming the abdomen. Exhale, reach back towards the wall. Go a little lower each time. Exhale and bend the arms. Inhale and straighten. Inhale, rolling up, lift the chest. Exhale and release your head. Come into a squat, release out of the lower back and hang forward. It is important not to move the hands and the head independently. It is also important not to fall back on the wall, so trying to coordinate movement, breath, and all of your body moving continuously, gracefully. Inhale, bring your arms up. Keep them straight as you can. Exhale and reach towards the wall. Keep breathing deeply, stay off the wall for as long as you can, and then touch at the end. Inhale, lift, release the arms down. Exhale, release your head. Bring your hands to prayer position. Inhale, lift the chest, roll back. Exhale, slowly reach the hands towards the wall. Once again, you might take 1 or 2 deep breaths as you reach, pause and touch. Inhale, press off the wall, roll the arms down. Exhale, release your head. Keep the hands down by your thighs. Inhale, lift the chest and roll your head back. Exhale, roll the arms round, turning the thumbs outward. Touching down. Inhale, press off the wall. Lift the chest. Exhale and release your head. As you progress through each of these positions, you might notice that the hands are going lower each time. With the first position, we're tending to be more stable, but a little less flexible. Through the last position, where we're tending to be more flexible, but a little less stable. One of the aiming points we have for this kind of drop back on the wall is once you can reach lower than your own center of gravity, that is, if you can reach down past the level of your own hips from standing, then you are ready to do a full drop back to the floor. If you can't reach below the level of your own hips and your hands are well above that height, you are probably not yet ready to do a full drop back. With a block between your thighs, inhale and sit up. Keep squeezing your thighs inward. Hands on your buttocks. Exhale, reach towards your feet and ease the head back. Keep softening the lower back and relaxing the buttocks, while at the same time as you squeeze around the block. Inhale as you come up. Exhale, sit down. Once you are starting to feel confident using the wall, it is important to practice some amount of the half-bending action off the wall. From the kneeling position as shown, your center of gravity will tend to be lower, and because you are closer to the floor, it will make it a little easier to reach and touch the floor with your hands. Exhale as you rock back. Inhale as you lift up. Release your head each time. Exhale and rock back. Inhale, lifting. The second stage is to increase the range of movement by lengthening the hands a little overhead. You can keep the elbows bent for this stage. Exhale as you reach. Inhale as you come up. Remember to keep your abdomen firm, a gentle lifting from the pelvic floor up through the center of the spine. We try the same actions on and off the wall. Try to keep your buttocks relaxed, lifting the abdomen. Exhale as you extend back, fingertips to the wall only. Inhale and exhale as you go backwards and forwards. Inhale, lift the chest, relax your buttocks. Exhale, fingertips to the wall. Bend the elbows on the exhalation. Inhale and roll up. Inhale, lift, elbows in. Exhale, extend a little lower. Push off the wall. Inhale and roll up. Exhale, release, sit down and come to child's pose. Inhale, slowly reach. This time try to lengthen and straighten the arms and touch the floor. Inhale, hands towards your knees. Exhale and release your head. Inhale, lift and lengthen the arms. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, release. Inhale, extend the arms. Exhale, touch. Inhale, roll the hands down. Exhale, release your head. Come to child's pose, releasing the lower back and your neck. Inhale, come up, tuck your toes. Exhale, reach back. Inhale, prop, full bridge. Exhale, kneeling. Inhale, come up. Exhale, sit down. Inhale, come up, tuck your toes. Exhale, reach. Press the hands. Inhale, lift, full bridge. Exhale, come down. Inhale, sit up. Exhale, Virasana. Inhale, come up to a kneeling position, knees apart, toes together. Reach around the front of the thighs. Exhale, bring your head back. Inhale, come up a little. Exhale, reach back further. Go up and down a few times as you wish. When you're ready, exhale. Bring the head in close. Pull the hands round the front of the knee. Your head touches your feet. Take a few deep breaths. Inhale, come up. Exhale and come forward. Child's pose. Lie down on your back. Bring your feet parallel and close to your buttocks. Hands overhead. Inhale and lift into the full bridge. See if you can keep your balance. Inhale and lift one hand off the floor and just hold this for a breath or two. Bring that hand down, exhale. Inhale and lift the other side. Exhale, bring it down. Turn one wrist in, inhale, lift, exhale towards downward dog. Inhale, lift over, exhale, roll to the other side, once again towards downward dog. Inhale, lift, exhale, downward dog. Inhale, lift, exhale towards downward dog. Once you get a rhythm established, the movements become fluid and graceful. Just be careful of how you turn the wrists and turn your feet and hips in order to get the appropriate range of movement. Exhale, come down, lower down, and release the lower spine. When you begin to work on the full drop back, one of the first things to establish is the range of movement you can get in the full bridge. If you are having trouble extending the arms and legs relatively straight, most likely you are not yet ready for dropping back. Inhale and rise, coming into the full bridge. You may need to adjust the hands and walk them in slightly. Inhale as you rock forward, bringing more weight towards your feet. Exhale as you bring more weight towards your hands. On the inhalation, little by little, you are trying to lift the heel of your hand off the floor, but keeping the heel of your foot on the floor. From time to time, you might need to walk the hands in, as they will tend to slide away. Once again, inhale, lifting the heel of the hand, pressing the fingertips strongly. Exhalation as the heel of the hand goes back down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Release when you're ready, lower down, and relax the lower spine. It can be quite challenging both in terms of strength and flexibility to slow down these movements and also slow down your breath. On the inhalation, pressing the fingers, a slight pause, exhalation and come back down. Inhale, lift and pause, exhale and come down. Keep breathing, do not hold your breath. Release at your own pace and relax. Using a bench can be a great addition to overcoming any fear of falling or dropping back to the floor. Make sure the bench is stable and unlikely to move from underneath you. The movements are all similar to what we've been practicing already. Inhale as you lift. Exhale, slowly roll back, reach and touch. Inhale, press off, roll the arms, exhale and release your head. Likewise, using a blanket underneath your mat, or 2 or 3 blankets, can facilitate the drop back. The extra height and support can make it a little easier to get the movement up and down. Inhale, lift, reach. Exhale, go back, touch the floor. Inhale, lift and rock. Exhale, go backwards and forwards. Inhale and exhale, rocking until you can get sufficient movement to come up. Inhale, press, lift, exhale and release. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, rolling back. Slowly reach the hands, and before you fall, slowly lift your heels. The support by lifting your heels can be a useful way to decrease the pressure into the lower spine. Make sure you do so with control and without simply falling. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, slowly reach the hands. Lift your heels at the end. Flatten the feet and then see if you can inhale and come up, even if the toes turn outwards slightly. It is not ideal to externally rotate the hips and legs when you do any and all back bending. In particular with drop backs, you want to keep the feet parallel to avoid the outward rotation. This is so you don't clench the buttocks and thus compress the lower spine. As demonstrated, by extending the hips forward, you can see the psoas muscle. It is important not to simply contract the psoas muscle when you're trying to do back bending or Uddiyana Bandha, rather a sense of lifting and lengthening. In addition to this, if you can find a lengthening through the front of the abdomen in this way, it is thus much easier to soften and relax the buttocks. This is useful for back bending as suggested, but also in general for the whole of asana practice. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, slowly reach and touch the floor at the end. Keep the feet flat. Inhale and lift. This time drop the hands down. Roll the hands outward. Exhale and touch. Inhale and lift. Inhale, bring your arms up straight. Try to keep the arms lengthening. Exhale and reach, stabilizing through the abdomen. Press the floor. Inhale, keep the arms extended. Lift up straight. Exhale and slowly release the arms down. Much as we have done with these 3 arm positions on the wall, we're trying to progress through the same 3 arm positions off the wall. As a general rule, the simplest and easiest to apply is moving through prayer position. This position combines the most balance between strength and flexibility. With the second variation and dropping the hands down the thighs and rolling the hands outward, this provides more flexibility and a little less stability. So if you are stiff rather than flexible, this may be a good option for you. With the third option, with the arms extending overhead, there is a tendency for more stability but less flexibility. So if you are flexible and not so strong, this option will tend to be preferable. The complete reverse wheel is the culmination or endpoint of the vinyasa we begin to learn in the salute to the sun. That is, the first vinyasa is Surya Namaskara. The final vinyasa is Viparita Chakrasana. Keep in mind that you will need to develop the strength in the salute to the sun and jumps, the flexibility in back bending, and the balance in headstand and handstand before this chapter becomes possible. Tic-tacs are an advanced practice. Enjoy. Lying flat on your back, inhale, legs over. Exhale, hand onto your lower back. Inhale, lift the legs. Exhale, bend the knees, toes touching softly to the floor. Inhale, lift, legs straight. Exhale, toes towards the floor. Inhale, lift again. Exhale, toes touch down. Inhale, lift softly, straighten. Exhale, toes touch overhead. Inhale, lift. Press the hands to your lower back. Exhale, touch over. Inhale, lift. Exhale, halasana. Release the hands. Inhale and exhale, lower the legs down. Coming into the half headstand position. Inhale and rise. Exhale, arch the legs over, bending the knees at the end. Inhale, lift the feet back, straightening the legs. Exhale, tuck the hips and bring the toes back down towards the floor. Once again, come to the half headstand position. Inhale and rise. Exhale, bend the legs overhead. Inhale, lift up straight. Exhale, come halfway down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, bend the legs overhead. Inhale, lift up straight. Exhale, come halfway down. Inhale, lift the legs. Exhale, bending over. Inhale and straighten. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Keep the movement steady. Keep your elbows engaged to the floor and keep your face relaxed. Come to the half headstand position. Inhale, lift. On the way over, take at least 2 or 3 breaths. As you bend the knees, keep engaging your elbows to the floor. Trust yourself, and when you're ready, exhale and drop. Straighten, press the hands to the floor so you can lift into the full bridge. From that position, press the hands, inhale, lift up, exhale, release your head. Come to the half headstand position, inhale and rise. Exhale, slowly bring the legs overhead. Once again, press the elbows, keep steady through your neck. Keep breathing. Exhale as you drop. Once you're over in this position, you can then start practicing rocking. Exhale, bringing your weight to your feet. Inhale, weight towards the elbows and chest. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump. As you jump, try to bring your heels closer to your head rather than further away. Pulling the feet in rather than allowing them to flick outwards. Inhale, lift. Exhale and lower down. Come to the half headstand position. Inhale and rise. Exhale slowly, bend the legs, and in your own time, drop to the floor. When you land on the floor, try and land on the ball of the foot rather than flat-footed. Stabilize, lift your heels, and walk the feet in as necessary. Exhale, weight towards your feet. Inhale, weight towards your elbows and chest. Inhale, jump. Lift straight. Exhale and slowly lower down. Inhale and rise. Keep the legs straight for as long as you can. Come into the arch. Exhale, bend the legs. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths until you can reach to touch the floor. Inhale, jump immediately, straighten, exhale and lower down. Inhale, jump, lift, exhale, touch. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Inhale, up, exhale, arch. Inhale, jump, exhale, release down. Relax in child's pose. Have your fingertips clasp, your head off the floor and your elbows pressing. Inhale as you jump up. Modified forearm balance. Slowly control the descent. Exhale, feet come to the floor. Keep your head off the floor, walk the feet in and your heels up. As you exhale, you can bring your weight towards the feet. Inhale, weight towards your elbows. When you're ready, walk in, inhale and try and jump, propping the feet towards your head. Once again, interlock the hands, head off the floor. Inhale as you jump, straightening the legs. Exhale, slowly come over. Use your hands and elbows as a point of leverage to control the movements. Lift one foot off the floor. If you have trouble getting over in the tic-tac with both legs, initially it may be easier to swing or jump with one leg at a time. In the first example, you can use the top leg as a swing to flick over. Be careful that this does not cause too much speed, creating more whip. In the second example, try to lift over rather than swing, slowing down the movements and decreasing the whip. Keep in mind that the one-legged reverse wheel creates some bad habits regardless of how you do it. Generally, this should be avoided in favour of learning to do it with both legs at the same time. If you keep doing the reverse wheel one-legged, it will make doing it with both legs that much harder or even impossible. Doing it with both legs requires more strength, both in your back and abdomen. If you are not ready for both legs and jumping or lifting into reverse wheel, you are likely not yet ready for this chapter. Bend your legs. Inhale as you jump, straightening. Bend the legs again. Exhale slowly. Bring the legs over. Touch the floor. Walk the feet in a space. Once again, try both legs. Exhale as you rock to the feet. Inhale as you try a jump. Feet come towards your head. Repeat a few times if necessary. Bring the feet close and the chest past your elbows. Inhale. Exhale and come down. Inhale as you jump. Exhale, legs slowly come over. Touch the floor. Once again, rocking. Inhale as you jump. Pause, straighten the legs. Exhale, tuck and come down. There are 5 points of the wheel that we're trying to get into with each of these reverse wheel positions. Try to pause at each one. Keep your breathing flowing at all times. Inhale as you rise. Allow a slight arch, see if you can control the movement. Exhale as you go into the arch. Inhale as you lift back. Exhale and arch. Inhale and lift back. Bend your knees, exhale and slowly come down. This time bend the legs. Exhale, arch, feet come over a little way. Try not to fall over. Inhale, lift up straight. Lengthen out of the front body. And then exhale, come back down. Inhale, jump to the full handstand. Bend the legs. Flex the feet in order to slow down the movement. Exhale, bend. Inhale, jump into the full handstand. Pause. Arching at your own time. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. Look forward past your fingertips, but don't overarch the neck. Exhale, drop, rocking backwards and forwards. When you're ready, press your fingertips to the floor. Inhale and come up. Exhale, release your head. Inhale, jump. Pause in handstand. Try not to fall over straight away. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths, firming through the abdomen. Exhale, drop. Once you're in bridge, inhale and come up. Inhale, jump. Exhale, slowly bend. Flex the feet to slow down the movement. When you're ready, drop over and stand up. Two key points for the handstand drop over. One is to increase the range of movement through your thoracic spine. As you bring the feet over, you're trying to bring the chest through and the head looking more to the heel of the hand. The second point, particularly at the end of the drop over, is not to remain static and stuck in the full bridge. The moment the ball of your foot touches the floor, there is a corresponding movement through the heel of your hand. Exhale, touch, inhale, lift. No pause, completely flowing. A last point is, as you become a little more fluid with the handstand drop over, is to keep your head in a stable position. Do not lift your head or move your head quickly. Once again, exhale as you drop over. Keep the head stabilized, keep the chest lifted, and the head back as you come up. Exhale, release the head at the very end. Much as we did previously with the full drop back, we can use a bench to create enough height to provide lift for the tic-tac. Lift your heels is useful, releasing out of the lower back and lifting the hips. Exhale as you lean towards the feet. Inhale as you press the hands. Exhale, weight to the legs. Inhale over the chest. Second step, using a blanket. This provides a little more height also. Walk the hands in as necessary, lift your heels, rocking backwards and forwards. It's important to remember with the jump here to inhale and try to bring your heels towards the back of your head. If the heels go away from the back of your head, you will not find the right range of movement. Inhale, heels in and lift. Inhale, jump, chest over the arms. Inhale, jump, pull the feet in, a little higher each time. Exhale, inhale, lift, pull up. Balance if you can, exhale and lower. Start with your feet shoulder width. Inhale, lift. Slowly roll the arms around. Exhale as you reach towards the floor. Lift your heels and jump. Initially, you may not get too far off the floor and you'll have to come back up to standing. Inhale, lift the chest. Roll the arms round. Exhale, reach towards the floor. Lift your heels, jump. Exhale down. Initially with these movements, you may create a whip effect. The momentum is such that the feet come over with great speed. As your coordination, your strength and your flexibility all improve, the movements become steady and graceful. Inhale, lift. Exhale, roll the arms out. Inhale, lift. Exhale, slowly down. Inhale, lift the chest, roll your head back. Take a breath if you need. Exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift the chest, roll your head back. Exhale, roll the arms. Inhale, lift. Cross and tuck the legs. Exhale, and come to sitting. In order to accomplish the full tic-tac, it is useful to try to make a pause at 5 different points along the wheel, from the squat to the pike to full handstand to a half scorpion to full bridge. You shouldn't skip any of these points. Particularly if you're whipping the feet over, there'll be a tendency to miss at least 2 or 3 of them. Exhale as you bend the legs. Inhale, jump to pike. Handstand. Half scorpion. Exhale and come over. Inhale, jump. Back to handstand. Pike. And squat.
Svashti prajabhyaha paripalayantam nyayena magena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyaha shubhamastu nityam loka samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Final rest posture. Allow yourself to get what you need for your own comfort. A blanket for the head, eye pillow, blanket to cover yourself if the temperature is cool. Have both the hands and feet opening, allowing your body to be in its most open, relaxed state that it can be. No technique is necessary here. Just allow yourself to relax, release, and let go. Take rest.